So you're on a roll and you're really wanting to track and see whether or not you're making progress month to month with your goals. That is exactly what we're going to talk about in today's video. In this video, we are going to talk about how we can really reflect on the month and the goals that we set during that month, and then how we can move forward. So we are going to specifically use February, as we have just finished up with February, and then go into planning March, but you can apply this to any month in the tips that I'm going to share with you today. So I have got 5 tips for you that I'm going to share on how to actually review your month, how to actually reflect on your month and to decide, did I actually make progress on my goals? Did I make some progress, or did I not even touch on these goals? And if so, where do I go from here so that moving forward, I can either make progress or maybe change some goals altogether. So let's get right into it. First things first, what you need to do, the tip number 1 is you need to look at your goals from the month prior. So like I said in this video, we are talking about the month of February. We are just finishing up February. So I am sitting down and I have got my February vision board right here in front of me. I have got my planner right here. And then I am just going to sit here and I'm going to look through the goals that I set for myself in the month of February. And I'm going to genuinely go through the goals and figure out how those things went. With this process is you have to have had goals set in the first place in order to truly review and reflect on whether or not you made progress. So in the event that you didn't actually set any goals for February and you didn't track any goals for February, I don't want you to click off of this video yet, because you are going to be able to utilize these tools as we move forward into March. So, or whatever month it is that you're applying this to. So don't click away. This is all going to be very, very applicable. And I feel like these tips will be really helpful as you plan your goals for March, because you're going to almost be thinking backwards. And I am very, very big fan of thinking backwards. If you found my channel with the 12-week year, that is very much how I plan out my 12-week years, is I start from whatever the goal is and I work backwards across those 12 weeks instead of starting at the beginning and working chronologically. You're just going to get out, whether you do a monthly vision board like I do. As always, my template for my vision boards, I make mine on canva.com. The link for my template, free for you to use, is in the description box below. Or maybe you just write out your goals, or maybe you have a bullet journal like I do and you've created some sort of a vision board in that way. However you did that, maybe it's on your 12-week year. Get that out and we're gonna look through the goals that you set, okay? So for tip number 2, you're going to look at your goals and you're truly just going to reflect back on the month. So I know for me, the first half of February was rough. I was sick to the point that I did nothing. So when I'm looking at my vision board right here and I'm looking at my goals, there are some things on here that I just didn't get accomplished. And as much as that stinks, it's also just the reality. I'm not gonna sit here and beat myself up over something that I had no control over. Did I want to be sick for 2 weeks? Absolutely not. But that was my reality. So I had to do what I had to do. So really, I'm looking at these and I'm like, okay, so what did we still get accomplished and what did we not get accomplished? Because as we move into step 3, not only are we going to reflect, but now you're going to go through each of these goals and you're going to decide, did I accomplish this goal? Did I make progress towards this goal? Or did I not even touch on this goal at all? You're going to go through, and as you can see my vision board here, each picture kind of represents a different goal or habit that I wanted to work on during the month of February. So I'm gonna go through, and for example, right now I am working through a lifting program. It's a 12-week lifting program, and I'm doing 75 hard. So I took 2 weeks off of that lifting program. 2 weeks straight up, I just took off. I still completed my 75 hard tasks in the sense that I basically did a 45-minute stretch indoors every day, and I went for a walk outdoors every day during those 2 weeks that I was sick. But as soon as I started feeling better, I got right back to doing my workout program. So technically, according to the original schedule that I had set, I would be 2 weeks behind, but I'm very, very, very passionate about you're never behind when you're on your own journey, because it is your journey and you can't be behind on your journey. So but that's something that I can look at that goal and I can say, I've made progress. I've continued to make progress. I continued to stick with the 75 hard challenge. Like I continued all of those things. So that's a goal I'm really proud of, okay? Moving over, I have another goal where I talked about tracking my nutrition. I'm really wanting to be mindful of what it is that I'm fueling my body with, and more specifically, how that food is making me feel. I am somebody who, I have a lot of gut health problems. Honestly, I should probably cut gluten out of my entire eating, and I should probably limit dairy to almost cutting it out as well. I have actually done that in the past, and I felt incredible. It's just a lot of work. And so for me, I am just more mindful of when I eat gluten, being aware that my body might react a little bit differently or less favorably. So by tracking my nutrition though, I can be really, really mindful of that. So that's how I'm going to go through. I'm going to go through each of my goals, and I'm just truly going to say, did I accomplish it? Did I make progress on it? Or did I not touch on it at all? Okay, so now once you've done that, we're gonna move right on into tip number 4. You're going to ask yourself, now that you know what goals you accomplished, what goals you made progress on, and what goals you didn't touch on at all, now you're gonna ask yourself, okay, so where do we go next? So this is gonna be a great time where you're gonna pull out your 12-week year. So I've got mine here in my planner. So in my 12-week year, I had planned out January, February, and March. Those were my 12 weeks or my 3 months that I chose to plan out. So with that, I'm going to go through and I'm going to look at my goals just like I just did. I used my vision board kind of to look through that, but realistically, when I sit down to do this, I'm looking at my 12-week year, I'm looking at my vision board, but for video's sake, I'm not going into all of that because it takes a little bit more time. But you're gonna look through those different weeks and kind of see where you are, because if you completed your 12-week year in the way where you really break it down, you're gonna know if you're on track with what is supposed to happen this coming week, next week, if you completed what needed to be done the week prior. So I do this on a weekly basis, and I'll go through and I will look at this to literally help plan out my weeks. I have another video actually that I did at the very beginning of the year. I will link that below. It was my 2024 plan with me, but I literally talk about how I plan my year, down to how I plan my quarter or my 12-week year, down to how I plan my month, down to how I plan my week, down to how I plan my day. But it all starts from the bigger picture view and slowly working my way down. And the next step after looking at my year goals, I look at my 12-week year goals, because that's what helps me then plan my month, but also plan my weeks. So you're gonna go through, look through all that. Make sure to go watch that video if you haven't, because I go into way more detail in that video. But you're gonna look at that, and you're going to look at the goals that you just reflected on, and you're gonna decide, okay, where are we going next? For the goals that you said, yes, I achieved that goal, where do you go from there? Is that a goal that you needed to achieve in order to then move on to the next step? Or is that goal just done? So for example, one goal that I have for myself, not only as a part of the 75 hard challenge that I'm doing, but just a goal for myself because I know my body does best when I have this much water, but a goal of mine is to have a gallon of water every single day. So technically, I did achieve my goal of 128 ounces or a gallon of water every single day, but that's a goal or a habit that I'm gonna continue doing. Not just part of the 75 hard challenge, but just something that I want to do for myself. So even though I've, yes, achieved that goal, that's still something that I wanna keep working on as the next month comes along, right? So another example of this would be tracking my nutrition daily. Yes, I achieved that goal. I did track my nutrition every single day in the month of February, and I feel so good about that. So I achieved that goal. But that's, again, a habit that I want to keep working towards, okay? So something else, just some other examples from my personal goals and vision board. I wanted to have a local in-person event with my business, my health and wellness business, and we did that actually last weekend. So I achieved that goal. I don't actually have a plan to do another event in March. The next event that I'm planning to do is in April. So as of now, that goal is achieved, and I'm just gonna let it be. Like, that's just where we stop with that goal. Now, for some other goals, kind of going back to that lifting program that I was talking about, or doing the 75 hard challenge, those are something that I've made progress on. I will actually finish the 75 hard challenge in the month of March. So my goal is to finish the 75 hard challenge. So in reflecting on February, I know that I made progress towards the 75 hard challenge goal. And I know that in March, I will actually accomplish it. And once that 75 hard challenge is completed, I will be done with that as well. When it comes to the lifting program that I'm doing, it's a 12-week lifting program, and I'm currently on week 6. 2 weeks I lost based on being sick. Otherwise, I would be on week 8. So I know that even over the course of March, I still will not finish this 12-week program because I'm only on week 6. There's only, 4.5 weeks in March. So I know that I'm still going to be working on that and making progress on that goal all through March, okay? Let's see. Tracking my taxes. That's another goal that I have, is to track my February taxes, track my March taxes. So I can say, yes, I accomplished the goal by tracking my February taxes, but I still have the goal then to track my March taxes. So I technically achieved this goal by tracking my taxes in February, but I'm building on that by next, I'm going to track my taxes in March. Does that make sense? So I'm either looking at the goals that I achieved and saying, is this a habit that I want to continue? Or I'm looking at the goals that I've achieved and saying, am I just completely done with that? Then same thing goes for the ones that I'm making progress on. With my YouTube channel here, I have very much pivoted in kind of what I want to bring to you. Obviously, this is still very much a normal sit down chat video, which I told you I still wanted to do these from time to time, but I'm also wrapping my brain around how I can bring content to you in a different way that feels more natural and more in alignment with what it is that I'm wanting to do and the message that I'm wanting to bring here. So I'm having to kind of wrap my brain around that. So I can't say that I necessarily achieved that goal in the month of February, but I did make progress. And so moving into March, I know that I want to pivot a little bit. I also know I would like to get to a point where I'm giving you a video once a week. I want you to be able to expect that you're going to get a video from me once a week of some sort. So that is something that I'm very much wanting to work on. So that's a goal for me as I move into March. Something that I absolutely just didn't even put on my vision board in the month of February based on just reflecting on how things were going is in January, I told you I wanted to do a blogging course and I wanted to start a blog and all of the things that have to do with my TPT business. I have done nothing with that in the month of February, but I kind of had a feeling I wasn't. After I got sick, I was like, I have more important things that need to be focused on right now. TPT is a passion project, but not necessarily something that I have to do at this point. And so it got pushed to the back burner. So I literally just completely left it off of my February vision board. So that was a goal that I just didn't do anything with. And I was very mindful of that, and I can reflect on that. But moving into March, knowing and looking at my schedule and knowing I have a little bit more time, I am looking at and saying, I want to get back to finishing that blogging course. I never even finished the blogging course, which was my goal in the month of January. So looking back 2 months, I can look back and I can say, I made progress, but I didn't finish that goal. And before I start my personal blog, I want to make sure and finish that blogging course because I invested in it and I feel like it would be very, very helpful for me to have that knowledge going into creating my blogging course. So that's a perfect example of a goal that needs to be achieved so that I can build upon it with the knowledge that I'm hoping to gain from that course. So moving into tip number 5, we've kind of already been talking about it, but we're literally going to take all the reflection that we've done, all of the looking at each goal specifically, deciding if we achieved it or not, deciding where we're gonna go next. So you're just gonna plan your next month. So right now, we're gonna sit here and we're gonna plan March together. The way that I am going to plan March, and I already actually technically have planned March because I wanted to bring this to you prepared. I look at my vision board from February. I look at all of the goals that we've just talked about, deciding, did I accomplish them? Did I make progress? Did I not look at them at all? What do I want to do moving forward? And then I make my March vision board, or whatever the following month is, depending on when you're watching this. So I go through, I make my March vision board, but my March vision board is also based on my 12-week year plan and what it is that I've gotten accomplished, what it is that I haven't gotten accomplished, but what I had wanted to get done. Technically, March is the last 4 weeks of my 12-week year. So really, March should be when I'm finishing up all the things that I wanted to get accomplished in my 12-week year. Now, if I don't, it's not the end of the world. Life happened. I was sick for 2 weeks. That was definitely not a part of my plan here. So I'm definitely behind on some things, but it definitely gives me guidance on where I want to go and what it is that I need to do if I want to get close to truly reaching those goals that I had set for myself in that 12-week span of time. So I've got my March vision board here. Pretty much everything is just kind of building upon what I was already doing. As you know, a lot of the things that I put on my vision board are habits. I am a huge, huge believer in what you do daily and consistently is what builds your life and the life that you want to live. And I'm so passionate about that right now, of truly showing up and being in alignment with who it is that I want to be and the woman that I'm hoping to be in the future. That starts now. How I show up today is going to affect how I show up in my future. So a couple of other things that I just wanted to share with you, in maybe just inspiring you to maybe put this on your vision board, and a couple of things that I had alluded to earlier in this video that have really changed things for me that I didn't think would be that big of a deal. One of those specifically is greeting my husband at the door when he gets home every night. Now, if you already do this, you might be like, that's a really weird thing. Or you might be just like, that's a really weird thing. If you don't have a spouse or significant other, obviously you can just ignore this one. But for me, I'm here in my office right now. A lot of times, my husband would come in from a day of work and I would be in here working on my computer. And there's nothing wrong with that. I have a job too. I have my own business. I'm running my own things. I have things to do. But just by making it a point of getting up, even if I am here in my office, which I will say, now that I am like splitting and making very intentional work time and very intentional non-work time downtime, I'm rarely in here when my husband gets home from work, because I've already gotten my work done for the day, because I'm so clear on what it is that I'm doing. There will be a future video coming that I'm going to share with you exactly how I do that and how that is looking for me right now. But no matter what, when I hear him pull up outside, I am greeting him at the door. It's a quick hug, kiss, hi, how was your day? I don't have to like drool all over him or anything, but just that greeting has made our relationship just that much better. And if you think about it from the opposite perspective, how nice for him to walk in the door after a hard day, a good day, doesn't matter what kind of a day. He walks in the door and he is greeted by a smiling, loving wife. That's the kind of woman that I want to be. That's the woman that I am aiming to be. And so that starts now. So literally on my vision board, it says, greet Kobe at the door. My husband's name is Kobe. So that's one. Another one that I've had on my vision board, started this, I think maybe back in January, but make at least 5 dinners at home per week. We were getting in a really bad habit of eating out far too much, simply out of laziness. I actually enjoy cooking, but I had it in my head that I was too busy or something. I don't know. If you saw my last video, you know that I was very much like in this mindset of wanting to slow down and all of these things back in the fall. And then all of a sudden the new year hit and I had gotten back on that hamster wheel and I was just like, go, 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 go. And all of a sudden in that go, go, go mindset, I was like, oh, I don't have time for dinners. Like, ridiculous. So I've been making dinner so much more. So not only am I greeting my husband at the door, but I'm also having like dinner ready to go, not necessarily on the table, but like finishing up. The other night I made enchiladas and I called him and they only needed 15 minutes in the oven to cook. So I was like, how far are you out from being home? I want to make sure that these are like fresh out of the oven so they're not cold by the time you get home, because where he was coming from was like over an hour away. And so he gave me a time frame and I was like, okay. And he was like 30 minutes out. So I was like, I'll wait a few minutes before I put it in. And it was perfect timing, like literally perfect timing. He gets home, I greet him at the door, oven timer goes off, pull it out. It has a couple of minutes to kind of cool down. We're ready to eat dinner. Bing, bang, boom. It was awesome. Like it was so good. But he even recognized, you have really been like on it with dinners lately. Like, I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. You know, like, so again, another super small thing, but it has made such a ripple effect in our relationship, but then also just me feeling good about being a homemaker and being proud of myself that we're actually utilizing the groceries that we're spending money on every single week and not letting things go to waste. And that, honestly, that's what's on here. Make dinner 5 times a week, no food going to waste. There's nothing worse than throwing food away. I hate that. It's literally like throwing money in the trash can, and I am not about that life. So that has just been a really big thing as well that I plan to continue. So those are just a couple of things. I have also, obviously through the 75 Hard Challenge, been reading 10 pages of personal development every single day. That's one of the tasks that you do, but that's also something I just enjoy doing. So basically when I sit down to do my Bible time in the morning, I read my Bible, I do my devotional, I do a journal, and then there's another devotional. And usually right after that is when I will read my personal development. And what I have realized in the last month or so is I really like faith-based personal development. As I am continuing to grow in my spiritual journey, I realized I want to read from authors who are all about the hard work, but are also about the faith side of it and about giving credit where credit is due. I've read all kinds of personal development books over the year. I mean, I have shelves of personal development books, and some of them give credit and others are very much like, it's all about me, 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 me. And that's just not true. And I just don't believe that. So wanted to give a couple of recommendations. I'm currently reading Think Ahead. This is actually the pastor of my church. I attend Life Church and Craig Groeschel is my pastor. So this is a new book he just recently came out with. And just like the title states, it's about thinking ahead, which is basically what we're talking about here in this video. So it's very, very applicable, but it's very much like, don't put yourself in a scenario where you are going to fail. Think ahead and prep yourself. So, you know, for example, if you're somebody who will eat 3 baskets of chips and salsa when you go out to eat at Mexican restaurants, guilty. Maybe put the basket on the opposite side, or don't ask for a basket of chips, or, you know, wait until your food comes before you let yourself eat the basket of chips, or whatever that might be. Apply it however you want, but thinking ahead in that way. This book, I mean, I'm not very far into it, only a couple of chapters, but already it's so good. He's also doing a series based on the book at church right now, so I'm kind of getting double. It's awesome. So I also joined a life group, and we are reading the book Don't Give the Enemy a Seat at Your Table. This is so good. It's a super fast read, and I was wondering why I was able to read it so fast, but I think it's because the lines are really spaced out, and the book is kind of small. But either way, see, it's kind of little. You see it like that. It's kind of small. So anyways, those are 2 books, and I also just got done reading The Power of Intention by Dr. Wayne Dyer. This was recommended actually by Brendan Burchard. I have the subscription to the Growth Day app. I listen to the Daily Fire every single day. I love that subscription. You can get a 14-day free trial. Actually, if you've thought about it or considered it, it is so worth it in my opinion. It's $29 a month after that for the plan that I have. For me, it is 100% worth it. But he had recommended this book in one of the daily fires that I listened to, and I read this, and at first I was not sure about this book. It was I felt like a little bit above my pay grade, a little bit above like what I could comprehend, but it's just his writing style I came to realize. And sometimes if I just had to reread something, I was okay with rereading something. I'm not too proud to reread something, but it actually was filled with so many good nuggets and very, very much in alignment with where I'm going and what I'm trying to do with my life right now. So I think I mentioned this in a previous video, but wanted to mention that again. So, but I'm very much into the faith-based PD right now. So between those, and then I've got a stack of some others over here, I'm just really, really excited to continue on with that, because it, again, it's just so in alignment with what I'm trying to do in the life phase that I'm in right now. And that's how we move forward. That's how we stay in alignment, is when we find things that support where we're going and what we're trying to do. So the final thing that I have is my Bible verse of the month. So this is essentially Psalm 23, but I did break it up instead of putting the whole thing. So I have Psalm 23 verse 1 and then verse 6. So that is going to be my verse for the month that I'm going to hang up next to my vision board, all of that. But we're also, in my life group, we're trying to memorize the entire Psalm 23. So I thought it would be really good for this to be my verse of the month, but then to also have like the snippets of it, but then also sit down and practice that. So yeah. So I hope that those tips were helpful. Quickly, just to review on how to review your month. Number 1, you're going to get your goals or your tracker or whatever, and you're going to look at it. And then number 2, you are going to reflect. You're going to look at it and reflect on your month. What happened? Did you get sick for 2 weeks? Did something happen that you had not planned? Reflect on that. Number 3, then you're going to go through each of those goals and you're going to decide, did you achieve them? Did you make progress, or did you not do anything with them at all? Step number 4, you're going to look through and you're going to say those same goals that you just rated. You're going to ask yourself, where do I go next with that goal? And then finally, the 5th step, you are going to plan your next month. So by reflecting on the month prior, you are now able to best prep and plan for the month ahead, because you are so clear on what you did, what you made progress on, what you didn't do. You've asked yourself, what's important? What do I want to keep working on? And now you're able to make a plan for the month ahead and feel really, really good, clear, and in alignment, hopefully, on what it is that you're after and what it is that you want to achieve. I hope that this video was helpful. Thank you so much for being here. If you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me any comments down below. Let me know if this is kind of how you review your months, or if you do something differently, or if you have anything to add. And otherwise, just thanks so much for being here. Happy March, and let's get on with it. All right, we'll see you in the next video. See ya.